Blooming on Hawthorne and Quinn, when Peter James McCaffery married Mary Alice Quinn. Their neighbours knelt in pitch-pine rows, dressed Sunday best from top to toe, as the chapel dust danced and silently swirled to the congregation's muffled prayers. And as the priest took his chalice, so Peter James took Mary Alice to be his lawful wedded wife, to be loved and cherished all her life. They began their married life in rain as they boarded the Bundoran sugar train, and spent the day on beach and strand, then spent the night in each other's arms. They awkwardly walked by the windy West End, where Mary Alice missed her friends, and, the formalities over, she was glad to return to Peter James' mountain farm, to mothball her coat, her dress, and her hat, as a monument to marriage and a Bundoran day out. Peter James was sparse with words, taciturn and alder-thin, and saw no reason to change his ways when he married Mary Alice Quinn. He had forged a farm from barren rock, built a barn and built up the stock, and waited now for the day to come when his father's crown could be passed on. But for all his cuteness and all his guile, Peter James was bereft of child. Mary Alice knew her place, swept the hearth and set the fire, kept her counsel and her tears for the silent warmth of the byre. She novenaed every Friday for new life to start, but each month's disappointment pierced deep into her heart, and the comfortable peace of the marriage bed gave way to an uneasy silence instead. And as the mountain farm grew in size, so the deadness in her husband's eyes closed the door on his secret world, and she became little more than the servant girl. Shut out from his life, her death wish began as Peter James McCaffery bullied Mary Alice Quinn. Now he never raised his hand or fist, but what hurt Mary Alice most were the accusing eyes that stung. "You have left me without a son." The gap of silence between them grew, and while there was nothing said, the neighbours knew that something was up with the McCafferys, but nobody dared to interfere. The blossoms were fading on Hawthorne and Quinn when Peter James McCaffery buried Mary Alice Quinn. She had suffered in silence, and in silence she died, without a husband and without a child to hold her hand and to dry her tears and to share sweet memories of happier years. Her funeral mass was brief at best, and Mary Alice was laid to rest in a 3-plot grave of the McCaffery clan, as apologetic neighbours shook Peter James' hand. He mumbled thanks through barbed wire lips, but his eyes caressed the well-formed hips of the black-haired daughter of Big Joe Strain, who would provide the son for Peter James. With the legacy intact, his true work would begin after his wasted years with Mary Alice Quinn.
The IBM